Right, it's time for the paper review. Let's get through what the headlines are saying this morning across papers in Nigeria. We have public affairs commentator Smart Akpejoye joining us today on the paper review. Good morning, Smart.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right. Now let's begin with the Nation newspaper. This is where we begin today. The first headline here says Buhari Atiku on battle of integrity over 2019 poll. INEC bars campaign till November 18th, and Fayose threatens PDP exit over ex-VP. All right, we know that campaigns are not supposed to start yet until 3 months. 3 months to the elections. That should be November 18th. Yeah. So I guess this is a wake-up call to all politicians anywhere for their campaigns, for those who want to be too eager.
Well, Buhari Atiku in battle of integrity. Over integrity. Well, I'll differ a little bit.
Okay.
Atiku is coming at a time where perhaps too many reports of corruption against him, whatever, but none at the moment has been proven. So
in the court of law? In
the court of law. So as far as I'm concerned, his integrity is still intact. And not forgetting that at least he was, I think, the only first vice president that shoved aside his immunity and said, look, if you have anything against me, I'm ready to stand. And several times, we've never had any report that has clearly indicted him. So I think his integrity is intact, just like Mr. President's integrity too. So it's not much of it's not an integrity, this thing. It's more of...
It's not an integrity contest.
It's
more... integrity, of course, integrity is good. Every human being needs that for, you know, to interact with people.
To be able to lead the people.
To engender trust.
Perception.
But then again, is that all we need right now?
Because right now, that's exactly what I'm saying, that right now what we need, it's an article coming up to say, this is my agenda, and this is how I intend to tackle it. It's a Buhari coming up and say, well, this is what I have done, and this is how I intend to sustain it, and this is how I intend to at least entrench.
Okay, so let's start talking about the issues now.
Exactly. So it is not an issue of integrity; it's personal thing.
All right. Because actually,
somebody could have a moral deficiency, and when you look at him, when it comes to putting things right, you see it does it properly.
Exactly.
But when it comes to the moral aspect, you could have a moral integrity. So I think it is more of
all right. The Nation Television Continental Conflict Resolution Summit in Abuja, it happened yesterday with under the chairmanship of the Emir of Kano. And there's a lot of discourse that went on there, how to resolve farmers' herders crisis by Tinubu, Ribadu, Sani, and whole lot of intellects and leaders spoke there yesterday. All right, tributes as ace comedian.
Baba
Salah dies at 82. This is really sad.
I think finally Baba Salah is gone. You know, over 2 times they've come up with report Baba Salah is there. But I think finally Baba Salah is gone. I think I remember those days going to National Theatre to watch Baba Salah's Orumoru. Orumoru, and one of that thing. You see, a fantastic comedian, and he has paid his dues. And I think the entertainment industry should celebrate his passage.
Yeah, but have we recognized the man Baba Salah enough?
You see, if we are talking about recognizing Baba Salah enough, have we recognized Nigerians even enough? So it's not even Baba Salah. Yeah. So have we recognized Nigerians enough?
He's just one out of...
So Baba Salah is just one.
Okay. Abdulrazak is Kwara APC candidate. Okay. Court, EFCC can probe account of states. This has been quite controversial. This is the court case that came out, the resolution over Benue State, where EFCC had frozen the state account, and the government went to court to bar EFCC, in fact, even interpret as to whether EFCC had the powers to investigate the state or not. But the resolution is that the court came out to say that actually EFCC has the powers to.
We've had cases where, per se, if we look at the cases, most of the cases that EFCC has won, you understand, there are more of the cases among the states, between the states. not between the federal government now. Because you find out even like the case of Joshua Dariye is a case between, it is not the federal government, it is the state fund that he embezzled. So I think, you see, I think the EFCC has a right to investigate, provided there is a petition or there are allegations against you, anybody, even a local government chairman, the EFCC could. So it's just like asking, can the police?
Benue State intends to appeal.
Well,
that judgment.
Of course, that is why we have the various courts. I mean, that we interpret it differently, but then I think the EFCC has.
All right, moving on to the Punch now. 2019, Nigerians will choose between a lifeless candidate and job provider, says Atiku. PDP presidential candidate corrupt, unreliable, says the APC, and Governor Yofayoshe threatens to dump PDP. This idea of lifeless candidacy, that's a bit, is that going
in the first
too
place,
far?
this is becoming, you are beginning to go personal.
Yeah, going,
you are beginning to go you are beginning to go personal. And this is one thing that I go against. You see, if you have to talk about issues. Look, this man has ruled us for 3.5 years.
This is what he has done.
This is what he has not done. Attack him on that in this area. Of course, again, you are coming from a party you were in power for 8 years. Most of the things you are saying you were going to do now, why didn't you do it then?
Anyway, someone will say the vice president had no powers except what is delegated to him from the president.
Let us look at. I wouldn't want personal attacks. I will want a situation whereby you look, if you are campaigning against Buhari, pick those things that he said he was going to do while he was campaigning in 2014-2015 that he has not done, or he has not done well, or perhaps he has shared aside. Looked at him from that area, and now let us look at you that okay, you want to do this. Now we'll now look at the people surrounding you. How well have you done it? You understand? So these are the things we should look. We should look at issues.
Honestly,
so the engagement based on issues.
Honestly, like the issue of lifeless or whatever, I don't want to go into that.
More civil in the use of language, because at the end of the day, it's really about the interest of the nation. And
exactly.
We've not forgotten the issue of hate speeches and fake news that has been going on.
Okay, moving on very quickly. Saraki, More Bruce, Melaye filed 500 million naira suit against IG. And missing general, soldiers detained Punchman, others for 28 hours. Protesters stormed APC National Secretariat over primary crisis. Of course, the APC, some of the APC members have been, protesting against what they term as imposition of candidates.
Yes. Yeah. You see, first, I think the time frame for this, within now and when INEC will submit the parties will submit to INEC, I think it is too short. Ordinarily, I would have wished that they have about 2 weeks more to take care of some crisis. Look, even while the national convention is about to take place, or was about to take place, some states were still conducting their primaries, which is purely out of order. But however, I think yes, to a large extent, APC has at their national level they've not done well.
They didn't get it right as far as.
They didn't get it right.
Okay, you know what? Daily Trust is actually a paper this morning. We'll still come to the Punch. APC senators meet over Saraki as National Assembly resumes today. Of course, they're resuming today after having postponed the resumption date
from September
25th.
25th,
yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Actually to today finally. And Atiku, others move to save National Assembly leaders. Really, do they need to be saved? That's a question.
From themselves?
From themselves or from...
if they are saving themselves. First, the Senate, I've always said, look, it is the party with the majority. It is not the party that is ruling. Today, of course, there have been alignments and there have been realignments in the Senate. Today, it will become clear. If the senators for the APC are more than the senators for the PDP.
Or the other way around.
Of course. And if it is the other way around, you'll find it difficult. And you could even have some senators in the APC that are still loyal to Bukola Saraki. Okay. So it could be either way. So as far as I'm concerned, I want to see the National Assembly take their stand. Let the senators take their stand, not the parties.
Let me breeze through some of the other titles here. Ethiopia to abolish visas for all Africans. That will include Nigerians.
Yeah, of course.
Nice. Ace comedian Baba Salah dies at 82. And Dangote Cement targets 2019 for listing on London Stock Exchange. FG Labour agree on new minimum wage. Waba. Okay.
All right, Daily Sun is our next paper now. Atiku's VP Southeast Southwest collide. Ekoremadu ex-Anambra Governor Peter Obi top list. Fayose threatens to quit party over Tambuwal's defeat. Now, a lot of persons have been saying that whomever the Atiku will pick as his running mate will go a long way in determining how far he goes.
I think among all, I think Peter Obi might perhaps come out as the VP. He might emerge as the VP.
You think he might, or you think he should?
Well, first, I think he should. First, I think he should emerge as the VP, number one. And looking at it, Ekoremadu will probably still want to go back to the Senate. As far as I'm concerned, Ekoremadu wants to go back to the Senate. So I think this guy, Peter Obi, would be Atiku's best bet.
All right. Well,
you didn't mention Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Well,
on social media, we've seen a lot of...
we've seen a lot of this thing, but, yes, Okonjo-Iweala, at least for once having a woman vice president, honestly, for once having a female vice president would have been also ideal, at least.
Okay.
All right. The South and the Southwest, they are all looking at, as far as the South is concerned, they are looking at it from different perspectives.
The VP should go to the Southeast.
Okay.
All right.
Imo Guba, Ararume picks Abga tickets. 8 other aspirants protests. All right. INEC warns against jumping the gun on campaigns. We've talked about that. APC, that is 2019 rather. APC PDP trade words over Atiku. And protesters hold the Shomole others hostage. Ex-IG Abba curses APC leaders over disqualification. You know, he was coming for Senate, but he was disqualified at the screening level.
Okay, we're going to the Vanguard now. Anxiety over fate of Saraki and Dogara as National Assembly resumes. Of course, before they went on that recess in July, there was so much talk about Saraki stepping down as Senate President since he's no longer, with the ruling APC. That is a moral thing to do. Of course, people have been saying, including legal luminaries, that they should just resort to the law and not use force to remove Saraki as Senate President.
Yes, like I've said before, the position of the Senate President is at the prerogative of the senators.
They decide
who should be our leader.
Senate President. Okay, let's leave it there then. We'll remove Saraki at the slightest opportunity. APC senators say any attempt to remove him will be resisted. PDP senators vow. Okay. The story of Tinubu, Abraham Adesonya, and Afenifere by Yinka Odumakin. Well, you'll get details of that. Let's we'll find out exactly what he has to say about them. He has worked with them for quite a long time, though, so he should know something, one or two about them. All right, NSC suspends 6 companies from trading shares in stock exchange. You would have jailed me if I were corrupt. Atiku replies Buhari.
Well, it still boils down to what I've said, that they have not been
they don't have anything on him, at least yet, so far. Okay, and presidential convention. I will dump PDP anytime from now. It would have been more exciting if we had heard Fayose dumps PDP.
Exactly. I will.
I will.
And even though if he dumps there now, he has no value. He lost his states to the APC.
That's a strong one.
Very strong one. Okay. Veteran comedian, of course, Baba Salah dies at 82.
All right, let's just run through the Punch. You've taken the first headline there before. And then protesters storm APC National Secretariat over primary crisis. There has been a few crisis from a few states over resolutions from the primary elections. Now, Saraki Mure Bruce Melaye filed 500 million naira suit against IG. And Tinubu says herdsmen crisis caused by water scarcity. That was from the summit yesterday that took place in Abuja. Now, Benue loses as court says EFCC can probe state's accounts. And Lagos APC primaries, police arrest 84 suspects for violence. All right, these are the papers this morning. Smart, thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, certainly we'll keep you for the next discussion.
Thank you.
And of course, it has to do with workers and retirees in 17 states of the country who have not been having the best of times. They're yet to receive their salaries and pension arrears.
Now, how will insolvent states reconcile their debt despite tranches of bailout funds made available to them at this time when organized labor is pushing for a reviewed national minimum wage? We'll talk about that next. All right, let's get into our first discussion now, talking about issues of salaries. Well, despite several bailouts amounting to about 1.8 trillion naira from the federal government, 17 states still owe workers pensions and salaries.
Yes, indeed, and that's according to data agency budget.com. The agency recently conducted a survey and discovered that 17 states are yet to offset fully the monies owed civil servants. And the states that you might say belong to the Hall of Shame are Kogi, Osun, Kwara, Imo, Ekiti, Oyo, and Zamfara. They're some of the states quoted by budget, still owing workers months and months of salary arrears. Now, this revelation is coming at a time when organized labor is pushing for an increment in the national minimum wage. With so many states still unable to cope with 18,000 naira, how will they cope with paying 65,000 or 56,000
or 50,000 or whatever government
or
comes up with.
30,000, you know, since government has said it will come up with a figure very soon. We still have Sam Akpejoye. Smart, sorry. About to rename you now. Smart Akpejoye, thank you so much for remaining with us. Okay, so let's start from the background of the fact that states are unable to pay 18,000. As a matter of fact, the Nigerian Governors Forum, the NGF, actually came out not too long ago to say, we're not here to pay salaries only. And in spite of the 1.8 trillion naira bailout from government, we're still here. Salaries unpaid, pensions, arrears.
You will recall I've been on this platform couple of issues discussing salary arrears and non-payment of salary. Equally, I've discussed about the increment, the minimum wage, the increase in minimum wage. And I said, look, in the first place, I think it is sin against humanity for anybody to have worked and retire maybe after 35 years of work or at age 60. And at age 60, he cannot have the stipends to take care of himself. I think it is inhuman. Honestly, if I have my way, I'll perhaps want to take care of the pensioners first. Because these are the senior citizens. These are the people that have sacrificed. Sometimes when I sit back and see elderly people at almost after 70, 80, going to queue, in the name of probably trying to carry out one verification or the other, and even trying to they want to do pay at sight. I mean, it is sad, it is inhuman. The way we treat our senior citizens is just, honestly, is uncalled for. That would not take me to Babasala. You were talking about Babasala
earlier.
I said earlier on. You said if the nation has been fair to Babasala, of course, Babasala contributed his quota to the nation entertainment industry. Yes. But today, I remember sometime when he was in the hospital, the state government had to probably come to his aid to offset of his hospital bill. At his Babasala's age, he should be able to have everything for free, as in medical wise. But this is the Baba that they managed to take to the general hospital, to the government hospital, and the government hospital is saying that his bill is almost about in hundreds of thousands, that the state government had to now pay that bill. And I'm sure after the government had paid that bill, maybe they didn't go back. That was it. They didn't go back to take care of him. So, and of course, you see Babasala too as a retiree in his own field. Now, and he said, one time again, he said, I've been on this thing, I've talked about the NLC, that they are not doing enough. You see, it is so sad that the only time you hear the NLC very, very vocal is when they are agitating for salary increase. You see, there are more to salary increase. I have said it. I said, look, the NLC and the government should sit down and draw a timetable, a welfare timetable. Look, 18,000 could take me home if I have a proper health facility. 18,000 could be adequate. Yeah. If I will not probably pay for alternative source of electricity in my house, 18,000 will probably take me home. If I have an appropriate health facility for myself, for my children, if I have a proper primary and secondary education for my children, perhaps 18,000 will take me home. Perhaps if I don't have to probably spend all my income on transport, 18,000 will take me home. So this is why I am thinking NLC should go beyond, at least always wanting to say they are calling strike for on minimum wage. No, they should put in welfare packages in places where look, and if you go and look at the generation of these salary areas where it started since when they increased to 18,000. Gradually, we've been having it since when we increased to 18,000. Gradually. And again, this will also take me to this thing that, honestly, then again, we'll now come back again to Ekiti and Osun scenario. Fayose lost Ekiti. I said it. I said, look, PDP will lose Ekiti. In a state where you are owing salary, and you now come up and say, oh, I'm going to build, I'm building flyover. Is that flyover necessary at that point in time?
Yeah.
And if you are building flyover, at what cost? Now, as a governor, please go and look at the returning of their aides. Sometime one governor from the north had over 902 aides. His wife, his children, his everybody. His wife had over about 30. I read on paper though that the wife has over about 18 aides, and he has about 3 or 4 wives.
And all those people will be paid.
And all those people will be paid.
And they're not getting 18,000.
So when you look at it, so now we look at it, I'm expecting a situation whereby, look, governors will emerge and they will say, okay, I know of a mass comm lecturer, probably, let's pick a Lagos State for example. I know of a mass comm lecturer from Lasco Tech. I think, look, let me pick somebody from here to be my media aide. The person is not collecting additional salary. The only thing you probably give the person is just additional allowance. Because he's in the system. Why not pick people from the system? We have Ministry of Information. Why not pick from Ministry of Information? We have people from Ministry of Agriculture. Why not pick your Agri Commissioner from? Why do you have to go and start bringing in all these people? You first of all bring them. They will probably first of all give them gas,
but the politicians,
give them everything.
The politicians are the ones who fund the campaign and
ensure
one way or the other that
yes,
you get there.
So there are better ways.
They expect that they will be compensated.
No, there are better ways to compensate politicians rather than giving them appointments.
All right, let's even look at.
And when you look at it, they've not really been doing too good because when you look at it, bulk of the job comes from the career civil servants, career public servants, not from the appointees.
All right, now that we are talking about some states owing salaries for about 13 months. 13 months is a whole year plus one month.
Yes.
Some for 17 months, some for 10 months, and running, depending on 17 states. Now, the point there is, from the eyes of the civil servants themselves, they are the numbers, they are the critical mass of those who even vote in the first place. Are they sophisticated enough to be able to hold either the government, if the governor is, whoever governor is in power that wants to recontest, or whoever is coming in? Do they have what it takes to hold these people accountable to say, if you don't pay us this, we will not be able to vote you back? Or
even to say that because you have not paid us salaries,
we'll vote you out.
We are not voting you back.
You see,
we're not hearing that language from the civil servants.
We are not of course, you wouldn't expect them to come up and say, this is what we are saying. But impliedly, they've said so in Ekiti State. Ekiti State, you find that it was so clear. It was so clear that PDP lost that election because of the fact that Fayose was owing them so many months of salary arrears, and even the pensioners. There was even a time that one of the governors came up and said, look, we have not even paid those that are working. You that are retired, you should go and even stay. Let us take care of those that are working first.
That's really insensitive.
That is insulting, and that is even derogatory.
And now, it brings me to the issue of fighting corruption. Where do you even begin this fight against corruption?
Exactly.
From? If you owe people
now,
salaries,
let me tell you,
aren't you giving them enough reason to justify
of course, you see, and that is why, again, we say if we are fighting corruption, you see, if you are saying, oh, Buhari said he was going to fight corruption and corruption is still there, Buhari cannot fight corruption overnight. There is what we call systemic. You see, endemic. We have so make it so in such a way that if
That's
you are
the norm.
That if you are working, like if you are working somewhere, and that ordinarily somebody is supposed to come there and you issue that person the certificate, maybe death certificate or birth certificate for free,
yes,
or just by 200 naira, you say, okay, when did you give back to this child? I want to go and find out when you give back to the child. Is it a female child? Or say, madam, please give me this now. Say, well, I don't think I even have biro. And you start looking, you say, okay, madam, take 500 now to buy biro. And you just say,
biro just came out.
Biro just came out. And you just see, do you know why that woman have to do that? Because she's taking care of her pension.
Yeah.
She's taking care of her retirement.
Because if they don't take care of themselves that way,
yes,
there is no security for the future.
There is no security. You see, again, I was saying, sometimes I always say, look, that I commend our Nigerian security forces. Look, I was privy to see the salary of an inspector of police that I've put in over 19 years, not up to 80,000 naira. An inspector that have served 18 years or more than, salary not up to 80,000 naira. And do you now know there are a lot of them that are retired, that they've not even gotten, they've not gotten their gratuity, and their pension is not even put in place. 6 months later, 7 months later, you still see them coming to the station where they served last to at least solicit for their colleagues' assistance. It is sad.
It's really a sad
if we have to take care of corruption, these are some of the things that we must take care of. So if all these things are put in place, of course, sometimes you want to do it and you probably be reluctant to even be corrupt.
Well, it's just like you asked earlier on, 18,000 states are still struggling to pay.
Yes.
Now in the new minimum wage that is coming up, now there's this struggle or tussle between states are saying we have to pay, let us not make it beyond 25,000 naira. Organized private sector is saying no, it has to be 30,000.
Even the 18,000 they've not paid.
Exactly. So we may have some tussle going.
Honestly,
back
we are
and
still
forth.
going to have it. And again, I think at this point in time, the federal government should remove this minimum wage from the exclusive list of the federal government.
Wouldn't that be dangerous?
No, it will not be. Because in the first place, Lagos State, Rivers State, Cross River State, they could be able to pay. But can Osun pay? And it's not that Osun cannot pay.
Is it about
they cannot pay? Because it's in the fact again that the laziness of these governors, I tell you, if Osun harness our resources in the area of tourism and agriculture,
they can pay 50 or
they can even pay 100,000. But we have the governors that are lazy.
Okay.
Instead of a governor talking about how to grow the agriculture, he's talking about building an airport.
All right,
we have to leave it here now. Time is against us. Thank you very much for coming on the program. Thank you so much.